Hey everyone, another weekend is upon us, and another video on my experiences with the Expedition 2.0 from Off-Grid Trailers. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it out camping this weekend. Had a lot of things that got in the way once again, but I do plan to take it out next weekend for a different kind of video. So stay tuned for that. I think you guys will be excited about what I'm going to do. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to do today was talk a little bit about what to look for when buying one of these trailers. I know I did a walkthrough which explained why I bought the trailer that I bought and the things that I was looking for, but I've noticed recently that a lot of people are starting to get their trailers delivered that they ordered last year, and different manufacturers like Teton, Turtleback, Boreas. There's a couple of Expedition types that are not off-grid but somebody else's model, and it's interesting to see them do their walkthroughs because there's certain things that they like about it. And I thought it was interesting to maybe put a video together on some things to look out for. So when you're looking at these things, don't get blinded by the features. You know, really look at it for functionality, build quality, the materials that they use, and certain other aspects that might appeal to you, and would at least give you some food for thought so that when you're engaging a vendor on a unit like this, you'll know what questions to ask, because it's important, right? There's certain things that are subtle that you typically miss. Anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing that I like to talk about is weight. Understanding how heavy one of these units are going to be, and depending on your tow vehicle, could be problematic. I invested in the off-grid trailer specifically because dry weight is 1,850 pounds. And for the metric guys, I don't know exactly how much that is in kilos. You'll have to look that up. But point is, it's one of the lightest trailers that's all metal that's out there, and that's empty weight. Once you put water in it, you can load it up with cargo and all that good stuff. I think a max curb weight is somewhere around 3,300 pounds, maybe a little higher than that, maybe 3,600 pounds, but still well within the tow capacity of a traditional vehicle. So for example, my 4Runner has a tow capacity of 4,600 pounds. So this is well within reason when it comes to towing. So when you see somebody say, oh, our trailer's under 3,000 pounds, that's pretty freaking heavy for a trailer of this type. So be wary of the weight, right? Ask those questions about curb weight and what's that going to mean from a tow vehicle perspective. The second thing is just intuitiveness, like the way these things are designed. I was watching some walkthrough videos and it was just confusing. I'm like, why would they develop it that way? Or why would they engineer it that way? And let me give you some examples, just real subtle things, right? First thing, let's talk a little bit about stuff like door catches, right? It's amazing how many trailers have a traditional door like this, but don't have any way to secure the door. So your door just sits there and flops in the wind whenever you have it open. Something simple like that is one of those feature sets that has really well thought out. I know it's kind of ridiculous because it's simple, but you know, somebody had to have complained for them to develop that. So there's a reason that's on the trailer. Just placement of different appliances within the trailer. You know, having your hot water heater, your Propex furnace, and your shower all right here. Normally you'd have a swing out shower enclosure, which again, I'm still waiting on mine, but in the meantime, I've got a Kelty blockhouse. You set it up right here. Now, the reason why that's important, and the reason why I mention that, is because some trailers you'll see with the refrigerator on the opposite side of the kitchen. And I'm not sure why they develop that way. That's kind of silly. Why would, you know, what my experience has been on these trailers is that the stovetop and the sink, you want it in close proximity to the fridge because you're constantly going back and forth, especially if you're preparing food or you're enjoying your day, right? Considering where the awning deploys. The awning deploys around on the passenger side. That's where you're going to want your fridge because you're going to want to get your food there, right? The other reason why it's important to have your fridge and sink on the same side is because on the opposite side of the trailer is where you're going to do all your business as far as personal care, right? So shower, toilet, all that's going to be on this side of the trailer. I don't necessarily want people walking around to get to the fridge while you're trying to take a dump. So placement of the fridge in proximity to the kitchen is one of those things that you don't typically think about when you look at these trailers. But as a user, as somebody that's actually taken this out a few weekends, I've gotten used to that, and I can't imagine having the fridge on the other side. I just can't fathom why anybody would develop it that way. The other thing is storage. And you know, again, I'm not the best when it comes to cargo management, but this gives you an idea of just how much crap you can cram in the back of one of these things. So I've got two front runners. That's where all my pots and pans and kitchen related stuff goes. And then I just kind of put stuff in as I needed it, right? When I first looked at these, I was concerned because I've always seen these with the galley in the back, and I thought, oh, that's cool, you know, the galley's in the back, it's neat, it's all, you know, you get better preparation space and all that stuff. But since I've been using this trailer, I've really come to appreciate as much storage as you can possibly get in one of these units. And when you start to look at other types of trailers, you'll start to see just how much wasted space they have. In the galley, they might have a couple cabinets, they might have your stove area, but there's a lot of wasted space that could be reallocated for cargo storage. And to me, that makes more sense, right? They engineered this for a specific reason. So That's one other area to look at. How much cargo space do you actually have for the crap you're going to want to take? And trust me, you're going to end up taking a lot of crap out. You might not think so, but you will. So having that extra space is important. We talked about the sink, right, and the fridge being in the same proximity. So I just cleaned out my Truma, so it's airing out right now, but you know, you've got your sink and your stove, and you've got your fridge, all within reaching distance, and all within the awning space. So you're in the shade here, right? I thought prep space might be a problem with this thing, but it's really not. I have come to appreciate the fender. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know we kind of use it as a bar area. You know, again, proximity to the stove and to the sink, you're going to want to have stuff placed here. Let's see, what else can I talk about that's engineering wise? I was just like, wow, it really makes sense when you think about it. You know, the way they've engineered the AC system, I've seen a lot of trailers that are coming out now saying, oh, we're going to be supporting the 12-volt Truma top, you know, the rooftop AC unit. I understand that, and I think that's probably an interesting idea, but 12-volt AC, you know, if you're into battery maintenance and keeping things alive and wanting to run your fridge and stuff that's really critical, your AC can suck that battery down pretty fast. So having a standalone battery-powered AC system like the Zero Breeze makes a lot of sense. It's one of those things you can sacrifice if you need to, and it won't affect the performance of the trailer because you don't have to worry about draining your AGMs, right? You're actually draining a separate battery from that, and you don't have to worry about potentially having that conflict. So having a separate AC system that's not tied to the trailer, in my opinion, is a better way to go from an engineering perspective. So just some things to think about, right? When it comes to front storage, this is the other thing that I've seen. Some of the trailers that are out there actually give you a box on the front of the tongue, which, you know, for storage and stuff like that. To me, that extends the length of the trailer because now you've got a massive tongue sticking out. And is it really necessary if they could incorporate the storage in the rear like this one has? So to me, having a tight, compact package that puts everything in a functional way so that you don't have to worry about, you know, coming here for your cargo and going around for your fridge and all that other stuff. It just made a lot more sense the way this thing was designed compared to others. Having what they call a wood box on the top. Now, I'll probably won't ever use it for wood, but you can see I've got chairs in a front runner bag and I've got a table set up there, right? I could probably put a whole bunch of other junk up there if I really wanted to keep it out of my tow vehicle. So the idea is you want to be able to have everything in your trailer so that the majority of what you have to do is put food in, maybe put some linens in, and you're gone, right? You're out the door. So having that capability and that mobility is critical, in my opinion. The type of solar system, we've talked about this before, but I'll bring it up again. When I first looked at these, I was not this unit specifically, but just trailers in general. You know, a lot of them have solar panels on the roof, or have them on the side, or have them attached to the trailer itself. In my opinion, that's kind of inefficient because now you're forced to put your trailer in the sun. And, you know, obviously the idea is you want your trailer to be as cool as possible, so you want to park your trailer in the shade if at all possible, which means you're going to want to have an off the trailer solar system. That's what Off-Grid did. They're like, look, we get it, right? We want to have an it'd be better to have a ZAMP controller or a ZAMP solar system, put a solar panel out there and keep it away from the trailer so that you can put your solar panel out in the sun and keep your trailer in the shade. Again, ingenious design, simple, right? It's just an engineering choice. But when you add it all up, the functionality of these trailers is so much better than what's out there on the market right now. So again, this whole idea is just to give you guys food for thought on things to think about when it comes to investing in a trailer, what to look for, what questions to ask. Dual battery setups, I think that's critical, right? Having two batteries is important, right? And of course, these come with the Canada-proof batteries. These are AGMs, but the controller is something else you want to ask about, right? It's not enough just to know what kind of batteries you've got. Make sure your controller is lithium capable. And this one is. I explicitly asked about that. I'm like, hey, at some point I'm going to swap these out for Battleborns. I don't want to have to swap out the controller. I'm like, no, it's fully set up already to do lithium. So when you're looking into the electricals on these types of trailers, ask that question. Will the controller handle lithium when it's time? Especially if it comes with AGMs by default. Because lithiums are pretty expensive. I mean, you're talking about an $800 battery just for one lithium battery. So it makes sense to start with AGMs, get those wiped out, you know, whenever you need to, and then replace them with Battleborns or something similar. Your inverter, at least having options on the inverter. Now, I'm not a big believer in having a high capacity inverter like a 2000 watt inverter because you know, actually plugging stuff into one of these things is going to be pretty rare at best, and 1,000 watts will pretty much handle most of what you're going to want to do anyway, unless you're running a saw or something out in the field, which you're probably not going to want to do because you'll be sucking it off the battery. So to me, having just a standard inverter was fine. I don't ever really plan to use it, but it's something that's there in case I need to plug something in. We talk about storage. More storage is better, right? Having something like this where you can keep a porta potty kind of outside of the trailer, but in an area where it's accessible, so that when you get to camp, you can get that set up pretty easily. Wanted to show the interior because there's some, again, when it comes to engineering and the design, it's important to have an option for a decent cabin, right? In my opinion, you don't need something that pops up for the stand up. Now you're talking RV territory, and that's not what these are designed for. These are designed for the traditional guy that doesn't want to be in a tent, but doesn't necessarily want to be in an RV either. So all of these are deep shelf storage. So this goes all the way through, so I can stack as much crap in there as I want. And in this case, I've got just extra stuff, tents for other people and things like that. The cubby hole for the AC prep, having all of your controls in an intuitive place to control the furnace, all the lighting, you know, having a USB port to plug phones in at night. I do have a 110, which has to be when, you know, inverter has to be on, but that's if you want to plug in something internally that requires 110 to come off the battery. The fact that it's metal is important in my opinion. There are trailers out there that are starting to move into a composite model, so they're getting rid of wood, but they're not going full aluminum. They're actually going with fiberglass on the outside and a steel frame. Probably going to be okay, but when you think about what fiberglass has to do, unless it's a monocockpit or where you've actually got it where there's no glue, no attachment points, there's a lot of toxic stuff that goes into having a composite body. And to me, I'd rather have a solid shell, an aluminum shell. It's going to stand up better in the elements. It's probably going to outlive me, and it's just one of those things that I invested in this specifically because it was an all metal design. There's no wood and no polymer in it whatsoever. So just a few things to think about if you're looking at these types of trailers. And like I said, I know a lot of people just started getting theirs delivered, so I'm starting to see more and more walkthroughs. And as I see more walkthroughs, one of the things that I'm doing is comparing it to what I already purchased. And basically, I'm asking my question to myself, you know, if I had to do it all over again, would this be the type of trailer that I would go with, or would I continue with the purchase that I made? And so far, I can say honestly, I still have the better deal here. I still have the better setup. Now, it's not perfect. I've pointed out some areas of concern, right? The fact that I'm having to bungee some of these doors to keep them flapping in the wind is kind of annoying, but it's a fix, right? It's a workaround. The way I like to think about this trailer after I've used it now is I look at it kind of like if you're into firearms, you got the one camp that's into things like the ARs, really, you know, the glamour guns, the people that are really into, you know, high-speed, low-drag functionality. And then you got the other side that are more into the traditional AK pattern, right? The reliable, throw it in the mud, pick it up, it goes bang. This to me is the AK of trailers. It really is. It's not perfect, but it's rugged, it's capable, and it's functional. And the way they've done things, it's very intuitive compared to the competitors that are out there. And finally, when it comes to price, I've been asked a lot about, hey, how much should I pay for my trailer, and how much do these things typically run? Should I buy American or should I buy foreign? That's going to come up to your budget, really. I can tell you this, everything is going up, and it's going to continue to go up in price. So if you don't lock yourself in now, you're going to pay more later. And to give you an idea, when I ordered mine, this trailer by default without all the options was 29 grand. Now the starting price I think is 31, and that's, I ordered mine back in October. So in less than a year, it's already gone up significantly. So these things are only going to continue to go up across the board. It's not unique to off-grid. It has to do with supply chain shortages, material costs, inflation, which is what we're dealing with now. So if you got the pockets, it's going to be, you know, you buy once, cry once. Right, that's why I'm trying to help everybody out here understand what to look for and what to ask about before you order one of these things. Because the last thing you want to do is order something that's got the fridge on the wrong side, only to find out later, man, that's really annoying to have to keep coming around to the other side, right? It should have been placed right next to the stove, that kind of thing. So if you guys find this helpful, let me know in the comments. If you got any other questions, let me know. I do intend to take this out next weekend and do some camping. I want to do some comparisons between you know, the traditional tent camping model and what you're going to get with something like this, so that way you can see from a timing perspective how long does it take to set up a traditional campsite versus rolling in with one of these. So excited to share that with you guys, and I'm looking forward to making that video. All right, well, hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks again for all the subscribers, and like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you later.